Silence, not the peaceful kind. The kind that comes after a scream is cut short. This is the silence of a city that stopped mid-sentence, a conversation frozen, a meal abandoned, a child's toy dropped and never picked up. Welcome to Pompeii. August 25th. The year is 1748. A farmer's shovel breaks through the hard crust of the earth. Beneath 17 feet of volcanic stone, he finds something impossible. A wall, painted, still vibrant with red and gold, as if the painter had laid down his brush just yesterday. But it has been 17 centuries. The diggers keep going. They uncover a forum, a temple, houses with tables still set for lunch, bread still in the ovens, carbonized, black but recognizable. And then they find the hollows, strange cavities in the hardened ash. When they pour liquid plaster into these voids and chip away the stone, the dead return, not as skeletons, not as piles of bones scattered by time, but as they were living, flash frozen in their final nanosecond. A mother clutching her child, trying to filter the air through her tunic. A man sitting with his head in his hands, accepting the end. A dog, twisted in agony, straining against its bronze chain. This is not a ruin. This is a snapshot. A city caught between one heartbeat and the next. And the mountain that killed it is still there, watching, waiting. To understand the horror of what was lost, you must first understand the beauty of what Pompeii was. August 24th, a D79. It is a morning like any other. Pompeii is not just a city. It is a jewel on the Bay of Naples, a resort town where Rome's wealthiest citizens come to escape the politics of the capital, to breathe sea air, to indulge. The villas here are palaces. They have private bathhouses, libraries filled with scrolls, gardens planted with exotic flowers from Egypt and Persia. The walls are covered in frescoes so detailed, so vibrant, that modern restorers struggle to believe they are 2 millennia old. Walk the streets on this morning, and your senses are overwhelmed. The smell of fish sauce and fresh bread, the scent of rosemary from the gardens, the sound of hammers. Pompeii is a city under construction. 17 years ago, an earthquake damaged many buildings. Today, scaffolds line the streets. Temples are being repaired. It is the sound of progress, of optimism. In the Forum, merchants unpack their goods. Ivory from Africa, olive oil from Spain, silk that traveled the length of the known world from distant China. This is globalization, Roman style. In the amphitheater, workers prepare for the afternoon's games. Gladiators oil their bodies, check their weapons. It is not the Colosseum, but it is old and proud. It seats 20,000 people, the entire population of the city. By sunset, everyone plans to be there. At the Lupanar, the brothel on the edge of town, the morning is quiet. The stone beds are empty. The explicit frescoes on the walls wait in the dim light. This is a city that understands pleasure. It understands money. It understands power. But it does not understand geology. Looming over every street, visible from every window, is the mountain, Mount Vesuvius. In Latin, they do not call it a volcano. They do not have that word yet. Vulcan, the god of fire, will lend his name to these mountains only after today. To the people of Pompeii, Vesuvius is simply the mountain. It is green, lush, covered in vineyards that stretch almost to the summit. The volcanic soil produces wine so rich, so prized, that jars of Pompeian vintage are shipped to every corner of the empire. No one alive remembers it doing anything but sitting there, beautiful, fertile, silent. They do not know that silence is a lie. They do not know that the last eruption was 1,800 years ago, before Rome existed, before history was written here. They do not know the mountain is not dormant. It is loading. Let us look at the people whose names are lost to history, but whose final moments will be preserved forever. The baker. Modestus owns a bakery on the main street. He wakes before dawn, lights the massive wood-fired oven. He slides 81 loaves of bread inside. He expects to sell them by noon. Instead, archaeologists will find them 1,800 years later, black as coal, still inside the oven. The couple. In the Villa of the Mysteries, a wealthy couple walks through their dining room. The walls are painted with scenes of secret cults and rituals. They're planning a dinner party for tomorrow night. They're discussing the menu, the wine, The guests. Tomorrow will never come. The Gladiator. In the barracks, a fighter named Celadus sharpens his short sword. Scratched into the wall near his cell is graffiti. Celadus the Thracian, the girl's heartthrob. He has survived 18 fights in the arena. He is a celebrity. He thinks his biggest threat is the man he will face in the ring next week. He is wrong. He will die in his cell, his helmet still on the shelf, when the roof collapses under the weight of stone. The dog, chained in the atrium of the house of Orpheus. A guard dog. His job is to protect the home from thieves. His bronze collar bears an inscription. I am the guard dog of Vesuvius Primus. He waits for a master who went to the market and will never return. For now, the city is simply alive, noisy, bustling, oblivious. The sun is bright. The sky is a piercing Mediterranean blue. It is 11 a.m. Nothing is wrong. At around noon, the world shifts. It starts with the animals. In the houses, the guard dogs begin to whine. They pace. They refuse to eat. In the streets, horses stamp and pull at their tethers, eyes rolling in fear. Birds take flight, thousands of them all at once forming dark clouds that move inland, away from the mountain. The people notice. Of course they notice. But in a world without science, without seismology, these are curiosities, omens perhaps, but not warnings. At 12:30 p.m., a tremor, small, a rattling of roof tiles, wine cups shifting an inch on marble tables. In the forum, a conversation pauses for a second, and then it stops. People return to their business. Pompeii has experienced earthquakes before. A small tremor is the price of living on such fertile soil. But beneath the mountain, something is happening that the human eye cannot see. For weeks, perhaps months, magma has been rising through the Earth's crust, boiling, pressurized, seeking a way out. The plug of rock that has sealed the crater for nearly 2,000 years is failing. The pressure reaches a critical point. At 1 p.m., the mountain exhales. Mount Vesuvius explodes. This is not lava. This is not the slow rolling red rivers people imagine when they think of volcanoes. This is a detonation. A column of superheated gas, ash, and pulverized rock shoots 15 miles into the stratosphere at supersonic speed. The sound is beyond description. A roar that shatters windows across the bay. A sonic boom that echoes from Naples to Sorrento. The top of the mountain is simply gone, blown into dust. The column rises and rises, spreading at the top like a massive Mediterranean pine tree. It blocks the sun. In Pompeii, 4 miles from the crater, noon turns to midnight. The sky goes black. At first, people run into the streets to look. They point, they shout, they wonder if it is a storm or a fire. And then the ash begins to fall, not like snow, like a blizzard of gray grit, thick, choking, hot. Within minutes, the white marble streets are gray. Within an hour, the ash is ankle deep. Then comes the pumice, light, porous volcanic stones. At first, they are the size of pebbles, then gravel, then fists. They rain down with the force of hail. People retreat indoors. They lock their doors. They shutter their windows. They believe the storm will pass. It does not pass. It accelerates. By 2 p.m., the pumice is falling at a rate of 6 inches per hour. Roofs begin to groan under the weight. In the Gladiator barracks, the wooden ceiling snaps, crushing those hiding inside. In the city, panic spreads. People realize this is not a storm they can wait out. They begin to flee. Some head for the harbor, hoping to escape by sea. But the sea is boiling. The water is churning violently, pulled back by volcanic earthquakes. Ships are grounded. Sailors abandon their vessels and run. Some head for the gates, families carrying whatever they can, jewelry, gold coins, their children. But the air is thick with sulfur. Visibility is zero. The roads are disappearing beneath the feet of debris. People stumble in the darkness. They fall. They are buried where they lie. Some stay. They shelter in the strongest rooms of their houses. They cover their heads with pillows to protect against falling rocks. They light lamps in the middle of the afternoon. They pray to the gods. The gods do not answer. By evening, Pompeii is buried waist deep, but most people are still alive. Those who stayed in their homes are trapped. Doors are blocked by debris. Windows are crushed, but they are breathing, terrified, coughing, waiting in the dark, but alive. For hours, the mountain rains stone, but at midnight, the physics change. The massive column of ash in the sky becomes too heavy to sustain itself. Gravity wins. The column collapses. It does not fall straight down. It hits the slopes of Vesuvius and races down the mountain like an avalanche. This is a pyroclastic surge, a superheated cloud of gas, ash, and rock traveling at 300 miles per hour. The temperature inside the cloud is 500 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead, hot enough to ignite wood on contact, hot enough to vaporize water instantly. 6:30 a.m., August 25th. The pyroclastic surge hits the city walls of Pompeii. It flows over the defenses like a flood. But this flood is not water. It is gas and heat and death. It pours through windows, seeps under doors, fills every space, every crack, every room. The people who survived the night, the ones huddled in basements, the ones praying in temples, die in a fraction of a second. Not from suffocation, from thermal shock. The heat causes cadaveric spasm. The muscles contract violently, instantly locking the body in place. This is why the casts look the way they do. They are not people who died slowly. They are people flash frozen in action. A man raising his hands to shield his face from a blow that never lands. A woman pulling her tunic over her mouth to filter the heat. A child curled into a ball. Two lovers holding each other. These are not poses. These are reflexes. The body's final desperate attempt to protect itself from something it cannot escape. And then the ash buries them, layer after layer, foot after foot. By noon on August 25th, Pompeii is under 20 feet of volcanic stone. The landmarks are gone. The gates are gone. The rooftops are gone. If you stood on the plain that covered the city, you would see nothing but gray ash stretching to the horizon. You would not know a city had ever been here. Pompeii has ceased to exist. In 1863, archaeologist Giuseppe Fiorelli realizes the hollow spaces in the ash are not random. He pours liquid plaster into the voids. When the ash is chipped away, he finds them. The plaster captured the texture of their clothes, the fear on their faces, the sandals still on their feet. One cast shows a man lying on his side, mouth open, gasping for air that isn't there. Another shows the dog, twisted in agony, forever pulling against the chain that held him. They are not ancient history. They are us. People who woke up on an ordinary morning, who had plans for dinner, who loved, fought, and dreamed, and who died because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Today, 3 million people visit Pompeii every year. They walk the same streets. They see the same Beware of the Dog mosaics. They stand in the Garden of the Fugitives and look at the bodies of the family that died together. But they also see something else. If they look to the north, beyond the ruined walls, they see the mountain, still there, still green, covered in vineyards again, still active. At the foot of Vesuvius, in the red zone, the area that will be destroyed if it erupts again, 3 million people live today, more than at any time in history. They know the risk. Seismologists monitor every tremor, but they stay because the soil is fertile. The view is beautiful. The wine is rich. Because humans are optimists, we believe disaster happens to other people. In other times, we do not believe it will happen to us. Pompeii believed that too. The casts are not corpses. They are warnings, written in ash, written in stone. They say, we were not careless. We were unlucky. And luck is not a strategy. Pompeii died twice, once in fire and ash, once in silence, when the world forgot it. But the city has returned to teach us one final lesson. The mountain is still there. The mountain is always still there. If you want to see more stories of empires that fell and cities that turned to dust, subscribe to our channel because every throne becomes dust, and dust remembers.